Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's time for breakfast, and while I prepare my breakfast, I want to talk to you about how you can change your life in 5 seconds. I know. When I first heard about it, I was like, "This is BS. how can how can somebody change his or her life in just 5 seconds, Charlie?" But I decided to find out what actually was going to happen. I was very curious. Today, at this one, I'm just doing some cowbell, Charlie. I really want. Unfortunately, I didn't bring spoon, but anyway, it's fine. So there is this material by Mel Robbins, and she calls this the 5 second rule. And believe me, within 5 seconds, you can change your life because it did for me. But before I go on to tell you about the 5 second rule, let me give you a background story of how I used the 5 second rule to change my life. You see, when I was in the university, I took this course called Crop and Animal Production. Okay, and the facilitator of this course did a wonderful job. In fact, he taught the course in such a way that those of us who took the course, we were motivated to enter into agriculture. So I was particularly interested in animal production, and after a lot of considerations, I decided to enter into goat farming. Now, while I was still in school for that particular semester, I was so motivated. I had the perfect plan, the usuals, I had a perfect plan how I'm going to, prepare a place where they will live, how I'll be feeding them, and all that. I had a perfect plan, but when I get home, I just forget about it. And the reason is that when I examined the plan and the resources available to me, it was very, very difficult to go about the whole execution process. So I will just abandon it. But whenever I come back to campus, I still feel the motivation to work on this particular goal. Wait, let me check my caramel coffee. Please, don't go away. Let me go and bring a spoon. Okay, don't go away. Okay, so what was I even talking about? Yeah, so whenever I'm back to school, I just forget, I just keep having the impression that this is still a perfect idea, so I need to work on it. Okay. But when I get home, I just examine the execution process, and out of fear, I'll just, let it slide. I'll keep, postponing it and all that. Until I came across this material by Mel Robbins, she calls the 5 second rule. Now, as usual, when I saw it, I was like, what sort of BS is this? But anyway, I was curious. I wanted to find out what this is all about because a lot of people have shared their testimony about how the 5 second rule had changed their life. So I wanted to also give it a try. This is good. So I read a book and then I said, okay, let me find out how I'm going to apply this 5 second rule into ensuring that I start the goat farming business. And to cut long story short, I did. Okay. Now, what is the 5 second rule about? The 5 second rule is just a simple technique that you use to convince your own brain to take action when fear wants to set in. So you see, whenever you want to try something new, something different, something that you are not used to, your brain will always find a way to talk you out of it. And you have to find a way to trick your own brain to agree with you in order to give you the necessary conditioning to work on the goal. So what happens is that when you feel the urge to do something, all you need to do is to count 5 seconds backward. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you take action. Relax. So when I got home this time around, I had a tool, I have the cheat code to trick my own brain into getting started with my goat farming business, and it required some dangerous moves. And I had to go into the bush and cut some bamboos, and come and use it to prepare their house, right? Yeah. So whenever I pick the cutlass, I feel afraid. I'm like, oh Charlie, why am I doing this? Then all of a sudden I'll just do the countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then I'll take the first step. By the time I realized within just a week the housing was ready. I had secured all the necessary resources that I needed, and what was left was to go and then get the goat. right? So I went to a nearby community, purchased two female goats. I named them Gucci Flourish and then Prada Prosper, two female goats. Then they started producing a lot for me. So I sold them. I sold all of them when I got a job outside of my community. Okay. Now, this 5 second rule, how it was discovered is even interesting. You see, Mel was lazy. She would rather postpone rather than do and feel uncomfortable. Okay, so she will always buy herself the cheap sense of satisfaction or safety by ignoring the work she knew were important for her, right? So for example, instead of cooking for the family, she would rather order it online. Instead of talking with the husband and then figuring out a couple of things, she would rather watch television. Whenever the alarm sounds, instead of just getting up and getting to work, she would just hit the snooze button. So this thing happened over and over and over again, and it has serious consequences on her profession. At the job, she was always underperforming. She was always having problem with the husband. She was always having problem with the children and the people around her. So she says one day she was watching TV as usual one night, and when just she was about to go to bed, there was this commercial that was showing about a rocket launch. And you see, when they are launching the rocket, they first of all do the 5 seconds countdown. So they started 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then the rocket launched. Yeah. So when she saw the commercial, she was like, maybe this is what I need to do. Maybe instead of just thinking about whether or not I should wake up and do what I'm supposed to do, why don't I just launch myself out of bed just like the rocket does? So the next morning, when the alarm started ringing, okay, she had two options. Either she will hit the snooze button as she always does, or she will apply the newly found golden rule, which is the 5 second rule, right? So she said, well, let me give it a try. So she was lying down, her eyes were opened, and just when she was about to think about to hit the snooze button, she decided to do the countdown. So she did 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then she made a move, right? And then when she made the move, she just noticed that she has gathered what physics calls momentum, which is energy from within to cause a body to move, right? So she gathered the momentum and then she started doing certain things. And when she's at the office, when there is something that she needs to talk about, instead of thinking about it, whether should I say it or not, she will just do the countdown and then she will just go about it. Now, one explanation that Bell gave about the 5 second rule and why it works, which I also agree very much with, is that, relax, my beverage is getting cold. Good. So one thing that she said about how the 5 second rule works that I agree completely on is that when you start the counting, you interrupt your brain's functioning of looking for reasons to talk you out of the situation, right? I think I've mentioned this thing before, that your brain was wired not just for thinking. Thinking is just a secondary matter. That's where a lot of people don't. The basic function of the brain is to ensure that your comfort is well protected. So whenever you have something to do, your brain will always find reasons to talk you out of it. That is the primary function, to ensure that your body is alive, and the way it does so is to ensure that you always have the comfort. So whenever you want to do something you haven't done before, something you have not trained your brain to accept as safe, your brain is going to talk you out of it. So when you do the 5 seconds countdown, right? When you do the 5 seconds countdown, you interrupt this process that the brain has in thinking about a way to talk you out of it, right? And the most important aspect of this 5 second rule is taking action when you hit 1, right? So when you do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you just have to make a move. So for example, if it is about getting out of bed at a particular time, immediately you do the 5 seconds, you just have to make a move. If it is about, let's say, coding at a particular time and you don't know how to go about it, or you don't feel motivated, just do the 5 seconds countdown. And when you get one, just type something on the keyboard. And when you do that, you interrupt your brain's ability to find an excuse to talk you out of it. But sadly, if you don't make a move, right? If you don't make a move after 5 seconds, the brain will just get back to it, and then it will be very wild. And if you don't take care, you may not be able to do anything at that instant. Okay, so the 5 second rule is an incredible tool, and this book, the 5 second rule, I recommend it to you if you really want to change your life. It takes just 5 seconds, and trust me, you will enjoy it. Through this, a lot of people have made sales. Let's say you are a business owner, you know that there are some people you need to call, but you are afraid. There's this person around you, you like the person. I don't know what you are waiting for. I don't know what you are waiting for, right? Yes, or there's you attend a meeting, there is something going on, and you know that this thing that is going on is not good, but you are afraid. Because you should be, your brain has been wired to be afraid of doing something that will make you uncomfortable. So it's not your fault, but there is a 5 second rule that will help you to overcome this barrier. Okay, yeah. Okay, thank you very much for watching this video. I do hope you learned something new, and I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, kindly leave a like on the video and share it with someone who needs to see it. Don't forget to be drinking something to keep your your throat, moist, right? All right, so I'll see you again tomorrow with another video. Until then, peace out.